Fisher wasn't like the other glittering fish darting through the warm coral reefs of Sunken Bay. While they chased plankton or played hide-and-seek in the anemone forest, Fisher would hover near the surface, gazing upwards, his small heart beat with an impossible yearning as he watched the elegant terns slicing through the endless blue sky. Their wings catching the sunlight like polished silver, he imagined the feel of wind rushing over scales. The dizzying view of the ocean stretched out like a shimmering sapphire cloth far below. The freedom of soaring wherever the currents of the air might take him, this deep, aching desire to fly, to escape the boundaries of the water, filled his every quiet moment. The vastness above seemed to call his name, whispering promises of a world beyond the familiar blue. His dreams, however, were met with laughter that bubbled up from the reef below. "Fly, Fisher, your fins are for swimming, not flapping," guffawed Bubbles. "A plump pufferfish, be content with the waves, silly guppy," chimed in Finley, a speedy angelfish, doing a quick loop-the-loop to emphasize his point. "The sky is for birds. The sea is for fish." That's just the way the ocean flows. Their teasing stung, making Fisher feel small and foolish. He'd sink lower, hiding amongst the swaying kelp, the vibrant colors of the coral seeming duller yet. Even surrounded by the bustling life of the reef, a profound loneliness settled over him. The laughter echoed in his mind, but the image of those soaring wings remained brighter, a beacon in his solitary longing. One twilight, as Fisher practiced flicking himself slightly above the water in a clumsy, splashing jump near the lonely mermaid's Tears Rock formation, a slow, wise voice spoke from the shadows below, reaching for the sky again. "Young one?" Old Tiberius, a sea turtle whose ancient shell was etched with centuries of stories, emerged from the gloom. His kind, deep-set eyes held no mockery, only gentle curiosity. Fisher poured out his heart, the yearning, the laughter, the feeling of being trapped in the wrong world. Tiberius listened patiently, the bubbles from his nostrils rising like slow thoughts. "Ah," he rumbled softly, "the wanting heart is a powerful current. Perhaps," he suggested, his voice like stones rolling in the deep, "you cannot be a bird, Fisher, but could you learn to move like one? To understand their dance within your own watery realm? True freedom might lie not in changing your nature, but in mastering it with a new vision." Tiberius became Fisher's unlikely guide. He taught Fisher not to fight the water, but to flow with it in entirely new ways. He showed him how to use the surge of a passing wave to propel himself higher, how to angle his body just so to catch the water's lift like a bird catching a thermal. Fisher practiced tirelessly. He'd race towards the surface with all his might, bursting through the meniscus in a shower of droplets, twisting his body midair before gravity inevitably pulled him back. He'd watch the gulls, studying the precise angle of their wings during a dive, trying to mimic that streamlined shape. As he arrowed downwards, his jumps grew higher, his reentries cleaner. He learned to glide just beneath the surface, his dorsal fin cutting a wake like a tiny keel, feeling a ghostly echo of flight in the speed and the rush of water flowing over him. It wasn't true flight, but it was a dance with the air, a defiance of his limits. Then came the great storm. Black clouds swallowed the sun, turning the day into an angry twilight. The sea, usually Fisher's friend, became a monstrous beast. Towering waves crashed with terrifying force, churning the once clear water into a maelstrom of sand and debris. The reef dwellers huddled in the deepest crevices they could find, trembling as the world roared above them. Fisher, caught near the surface when the fury hit, was tossed like a leaf. Disoriented and terrified, he fought the savage currents, his practiced jumps useless against the ocean's raw power. Just as a colossal wave was about to smash him against the sharp volcanic rocks of the northern shore, he saw it, a flash of terrified pink and silver coral. A young butterfly fish who had always teased him loudest was trapped in a swirling vortex of foam and broken coral branches, helplessly tumbling towards the deadly rocks. In that heart-stopping instant, Fisher forgot the sky. He forgot his longing to be a bird. Every lesson Tiberius taught him, every jump, every glide, focused into a single, desperate purpose. Save coral. He didn't think, he flowed. He angled his body perfectly against the surging current, using its immense power not to fight, but to slingshot himself forward with incredible speed. He dove deep beneath the churning surface turbulence, finding a sliver of calmer water, then rocketed upwards, bursting through the foam just behind the tumbling coral, mimicking the turns he'd watched for so long. He positioned himself beneath her, his body rigid and streamlined. With a powerful surge of his tail, he pushed upwards, nudging her out of the deadly vortex's grip and into a swirling but less violent eddy that carried her towards the relative safety of a deep overhang. Exhausted, Fisher rode the next wave, letting it deposit him gasping beside coral under the sheltering rock. The storm eventually passed, leaving a bruised and battered sea, but also a changed reef. Coral, shaken but unharmed, looked at Fisher with awe, her earlier mockery replaced by profound gratitude. Word of Fisher's daring rescue spread like ripples across the sun. Dappled shallows, the fish who had laughed now watched him with new respect as he practiced his high, arcing jumps and smooth, gliding dives. Fisher still gazed at the sky, but the desperate ache to be elsewhere had softened. He felt a deep pride, not in being something he wasn't, but in how fully he could be himself. A fish who moved with unique grace and purpose, who had touched the air not to escape the sea, but to save a part of it. The vast ocean no longer felt like a cage, but like a canvas, where he could paint his own kind of flight. One calm morning, Fisher noticed a small, shimmering fish hovering near Mermaid's Tears, watching a pelican skim the surface with wide, wondering eyes. He recognized the familiar yearning in that gaze. Swimming over slowly, Fisher settled beside the young fish. The sky is beautiful, isn't it? He said gently. The little fish, named Minnow, startled, then nodded shyly. Do you ever wish? Minnow began, trailing off. Fisher smiled, a stream of bubbles rising from his lips. Oh yes, he replied, his voice warm with understanding. Let me show you something wonderful you can do right here, right now, just as you are. And as the sun warmed the water, Fisher began to teach Minnow the first steps of the water dance, sharing the wisdom of the turtle and the freedom found not in changing your world, but in discovering its hidden heights.